Butterflies, birds, flowers, they're beautiful things, so why not surround yourself with them, which you can do even if you have to make them out of paper. Mind you, it should be pretty stiff paper or thin card, otherwise it'll be so floppy that the mobile, and that's what you're going to make, isn't going to work. Well, in nature, plants grow, they grow flowers, and those animals feed from the flowers. So let's do what nature does. Start with the plant, then grow the flower, and then put the animal on top. And I guess for the plant, you really want something like this green paper. The first thing you do is to fold it over into a nice, neat fold there. Now that is the start, and you take your scissors and cut a base which really is at an angle to the fold. In fact, that should be like a spearhead or an arrowhead. It should be quite sharp. You'll see why, because if I then take this bit, I can do anything I like with that, like putting on a leaf. Doesn't really matter, that's just for decoration. But if I come up to the fold again, notice that I then turn those scissors and cut the fold into a sharp spike, and that's going to be the stem of the plant. And you can see that if I then open it up, it's going to sit like that, and because of that sharp angle, the stem's going to come backwards, and that's what I want. It's very stable. It's not easily thrown over or knocked over by the wind. Well, you can adorn that with felt pens. I've coloured in the leaf on both sides to make it look a bit more realistic, and that's the first part of my three-part mobile. The flower, well, that's pretty easy too. You take another piece of card, fold it once, and again into quarters, and then you can really cut it however you like, but I favour the business of cutting two petals in that. Let's say one there, and back again, another one here, and back onto that fold, and that'll give me an 8-petaled flower. If I open it out like that, and then like that. But I want a hole in the middle, which is, in fact, a cross. So I fold it like that, and make one little nick along the fold that I can see, then fold it the other way, and do exactly the same thing. And that will have to produce a little cross. Not too big, but a cross. And you can see then that if I pull one of those corners up, that's just the right sort of shape to be jammed down on the stem, because the stem can be a right-angled fold. If I turn that to you and pull the flower on, you'll see how it fits. Any of the corners does, but it means that the flower comes down and sits absolutely flat. And while it sits flat, it also strengthens the stand. And that's part 2 of the mobile, the flower sitting on the stem. It's really quite rigid and will support a decent weight. Now to the animal. You can make anything you like, but I'm going to make a moth. And a different piece of card, fold it in the middle, and watch carefully because the moth has to be designed in a certain way. First of all, you start with the head on the fold. I'm going to put feelers on. You don't have to do that, but I like to put feelers on because it makes it look really butterflyish or mothish. Then make sure when you cut the wings that you bring them all the way forward, in fact, in front of that head, and make them quite strong. Otherwise they'll bend when you put the weights on. Well, a pair of hind wings will complete the mothy part with the body behind, and that's what I've got. And notice when I open that out that those wings really do come in front of the head. Now I have to weight those because that wouldn't balance at all well if I just put it on the flower. It would sit sort of slumped like that and it wouldn't twirl about. So I have to weight it by turning it over and putting a weight right on the tip of each of the wings. And the weight, of course, has to be evenly balanced. So what you do is to take another piece of card, preferably the same colour as your moth, fold it over, cut it down the side there and cut it again to make 2 ribbons, about twice the length of the animal that you've made and about the width of your little fingernail. Now, because they're cut exactly the same, those strips will have exactly the same weight. You roll them up and stick them in exactly the same place, underneath the tips of the wings. That takes a bit of time, but in fact the result that you'll get is rather like that. There's the moth with one of the weights stuck on with sticky tape. Here's the other weight rolled up, like that. And again, with sticky tape, I make sure I get it in exactly the same place over here. And there we are. All you have to do is to trim off the bits of sticky so they can't be seen from above. And because those weights are up in front of the head, they'll bring the whole balance of the animal forward, and it should balance somewhere around about there. Let's see if it does. This is trial and error, I might say. You'll have to find the spot by just guesswork, but if you've made it accurately, it shouldn't be far away from the head. And you notice that it balances, twirls, and dances around. All you have to do is to get to that with felt pens, anything you like, and you've got a host of beautiful animal mobiles.